Minions of the Zoo is a lovable ragtag group of misfits that sprang up initially as a fan group to Ranting Monkey, Scribe-Light, Some Dumb American, and their joint Lords of the Night livestream show. Late night discussions in Discord quickly evolved into streams of their own, with each member bringing something new and different to the table for discussion. Led by the incomparable Reject PPC and the One-Ton Hammer, the group rotates hosts known as Zookeepers.
Hello everybody and welcome to Minions of the Zoo. I am your host for this evening, One-Ton Hammer.
I will be your zookeeper tonight, Reject.
Alright, and welcome to the zoo. I am the Lucky Pop-Tart Inquisitor.
Sanguine.
Skep, Tock.
I'm Prospero.
And I'm Hazed.
Regular streamers, they're known as Minions, and special guests are known as traveling exhibits. They're on a nightly basis, so that each show has something unique and fresh for our audience. Minions of the Zoo currently streams at 10:30 Central Standard, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Let's be xenophobic. It's really in this year. Let's find a nasty, slimy, ugly alien to fear. There's no more cutesy stories about E.T. phoning home. Let's learn to love our neighbors like the Christians learned in Rome. We know we ought to hate them. They're different, you see. We've seen they're mean and ugly on movies and TV. The folks that ought to know have told us how it's got to be. The gospel truth is found in scenes from Alien and V. Let's wipe out any life form that seems to be a threat. We'll serve them up a genocide they never will forget. 'Cause if we miss a couple, they'll breed a couple more. And soon we'll all be hating twice as many as before. You see, aliens can never be as good as humankind. A more delightful race than us you'll never ever find. So step aside, you star slime, we're ready for your worst. We know you want to beat us, enslave us and defeat us, oppress us and browbeat us unless we get you first.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the zoo. I'm your Zookeeper Night Inquisitor, and a special guest joining me today is Simmias, or Simmias of Thebes. Is that how you're known on Twitter? Whichever one.
That's how I'm known on Twitter, but you can call me Simmias.
Okay, sounds good. I think this is the first time we've ever really talked. I mean, we've interacted on Twitter before, but I don't think we've actually been on stream together. So welcome. And Mr. Adam just joined us. How's it going?
Oh, brother.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going all right. So tonight, because of the whole announcement of the Lion's return for 40K, I'm going to be painting some of my roommates' Dark Angels. But until then, we'll talk about this. How are both of you gentlemen this evening?
Good, man.
That's good. That's good. So the one thing that we've interacted quite a bit on Twitter, Simmias, but I never knew for a long time that you even knew about or played 40K. It wasn't until you randomly showed up in the Minions chat. I was all like, wait a minute, I didn't know you played 40K.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Like I said, last time I played was like 5th edition, 6th edition. So it's been a minute. I've looked on my army. Or at least 2 of them anyway. I'm working on a 3rd, like the Salamanders. So.
Well, Salamanders are great. We got to talking a little bit beforehand. You said that I was gonna hate you because you played Tau. I'm like, no, I get it. I get why people like the Tau. I do. It's for me, I don't know, the appeal isn't there enough for me to go out and actually buy the army, but I have no problem actually playing people for it.
No, it was my first army. It was and I've always been I'm from the South, so I love guns. So it was more of a shoot kind of thing. Like I've got what's the sniper from the Assassins? Which one is it? The Calder?
Vindicare.
Vindicar, thank you. Yeah, I've got a Vindicar for my Grey Knights that I'll use to infiltrate and fuck with people. So.
Oh yeah. I love that model. I've got the old pewter model, and then
it needs to be redone. Oh my god.
Well, they recently put out a thing because of Warhammer Plus. You can get I can't remember the name of it, but it's got like a specific new name for that specific one. He's like sitting up in the perch inside of a ruined Adeptus Sororitas statue.
Oh, that's right.
It looks so cool. I love that model.
I think I remember seeing this. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
Like hitting the rifle coming out of like the ear of the model. Yeah, that's pretty badass.
And I get the sentiment quite a bit too. Let's see here. I've got 2 units of 5 Ratlings for my Imperial Guard. I'm going to get eventually a unit of 10 Death Marks, regardless of how good they are, because they're not very good. For my Necrons, I want to get, I love the idea of having snipers on the battlefield. It's just like one of the coolest
absolutely.
things.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm really being honest, my next after I print off and work on like maybe like a 750 point salamanders, I was actually thinking about going Xenos again and doing some I was about to say Zerg, but Nids.
No, Tyranids, yeah. I have a Tyranid boarding patrol army that I've got an idea that I want to get. And it's funny because most of it is in the boarding patrol box that GW just put out for them. So I was thinking, like, meh, why not? I'll just get the boarding patrol box, and there you go. I've got most of an army already ready.
The new terminagants and everything like that.
Oh yeah,
they look good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. They really do.
They look really good.
I was a little disappointed when they announced Termagants, though. In my opinion, they should have, if they wanted to have more clout, more, I guess, hype around it, they should have released Hormagaunts, because the Hormagaunts is so old. It is so inefficient. Yeah. It's like half like falling off of its base. So yeah, it needs a new update.
Yeah. Step up. Even like some of the hive mind stuff, not the hive mind, but the hive bosses, that the elites, all of the Nids need a redo.
Mm-hmm.
They look good. They just need to be polished up and good. They're just But the Termagants, it looks good.
Yeah, I could agree. I think
who was it? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I think some of the models are like better than others. I mean, like the Exocrine.
Oh, sure.
And like the oh god, what was the other one? Like the snake bodies, the Trigon and the Moloch. They're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
They're perfectly fine. They don't need a redo. But like some of the more like the troops and stuff like that, like your Termagants, your Hormagaunts, and your Tyranid warriors, absolutely need a redo. They absolutely do.
They just need to do that. I like the idea. I like the idea of the Gene Stealer cults. I would like to see, be like a hyperactive Gene Stealer. That way you could place him on there, and if you get into a fight with like guard, you can like spit out some an exomorph or something. That would be pretty cool.
Well, let's put it this way, okay? If you like snipers,
true.
I would recommend looking into the Gene Stealer cults rather than the Tyranids, because the Gene Stealer cults have, number one, they have a character. Her name is the Jackal Alphys. She's a sniper on a dirt bike, and the model is awesome. It is so cool. But they have like the actual Adelan Jackals, and then the it's the Adelan Ridge Runner.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Oh my god, it's like, if I were to build a Gene Stealer army, that would be like the mainstay of it. I wouldn't try to go for like the big heavy, hammer units. I would want to have like a fast-moving precision army, and that's the way to do it.
Yes.
I mean, you could do that with the Gene Stealer cults.
Yeah, for it all depends on the mission you're doing too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least one item. That's what we were doing. Like, but it's funny. I was looking at, where the hell? I was looking at the Termagant online today. I was like, I actually have some STLs that look very similar to this.
I mean, I'm not gonna to shame anyone who goes and does 3D
No.
3D printing is a good resource, man. If it can save you money and get you what you need, do it. I'm all for
Right.
it.
Don't get me wrong. I'm still gonna go buy some stuff from. I'm not gonna be like one of the guys that's like screw them. Like no, they keep the storyline going. They control the IP. I mean, you got to be nice.
Sure.
Like, that's kind of why I wish that they would get into the business of selling certain IPs. Yeah, I actually have the 3D rendered model of that.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. That's fucking awesome.
But yeah, I would say the 3D printing, I really think that GW could even tap into that market. When people sit there and say, 3D printing is going to kill Games Workshop. I'm like, dude, okay,
no.
You can very easily turn that into a win for Games Workshop. If Games Workshop were to do something like put out STLs of their own, or better yet...
I mean, look at their closest competitor is One Page Rules, who does that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can either buy the prints themselves from them, or you can actually buy the STLs off of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the closest competitor, and if GW's not careful, One Page will actually take them over.
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
I think that GW could really do that, because like the major thing that a lot of people complain about with Games Workshop, IPs in particular, is the fact that like, say, and I had to go through this quite a bit when I built my guard army, is I want to have all of my guardsmen for all of my infantry squads to have plasma guns in them, right?
Sure.
When I was building my Cadians, I wanted a plasma gun. Up until recently as in like the last 3 years, and mind you, I've been playing the guard, or at least I collected the guard back in 3rd edition. The only weapons that came in the guard sprue were grenade launchers and flamers. That's it. So you had to go
you're
out
saying
of
that
your
I would
way.
love to have the flamers. yeah, you would have to like kit bash the hell out of it, like.
Yeah, and that's what I did. Like my first 60 guardsmen, I actually bought the Space Marine resin plasma gun and clipped out the Space Marine's hand and put it on the arms for the guard.
Yep.
And lucky it works. It looks good, but at the same time, it's all like, I really wish you made that bit. Well, if they come out with an STL and say, hey, for this one-time fee, you can have the STL, and then you can provide the materials and make as many as you want for a bit that we don't provide in the box, that like completely changes the game.
It would, yeah. And there needs to be some training, because granted, I wasted probably at least half a bottle, which really isn't that expensive, of resin on just trying to get, because you're talking a liter of resin is $40 ish. I wasted half of it trying to get it, because I always had print failures. So the problem is they would also have to show either and my problem was the support system. So they would either have to do their own supports and guarantee it, or they're going to have to do tutorials. But yeah, I think for that kind of stuff, for like kit bashing or very old models that you want to have like access to, like some of the older models, like Jesus, I was looking back at some of the old flamer kits for the salamanders, and my God, they look great. But they don't make them anymore. Yep. So why not have them just 3D cast, and you can buy them for, it's $100 for an STL, but you can print off however many the fuck you want. Yeah,
as many as you want to build whatever army you want. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's $100, so I could build three squads of 5. I think it's 3 squads of 4 or 5 of the flame dragons, and just I'm done. It's $100 for nothing. You literally just made $100 basically free because of you still got to make the STL, but still, like, they're nowadays with the way they're doing it, they're making STLs anyway, so they could print off and make a hard cast for that, and then they're making their what do you call it, the molds off of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the major thing that they're doing now. They're like all of the GW sculpting, none of it is done like by hand anymore. All of it's all
none of it is
made on 3D for printers. And with that kind of advancement in technology, why not pay it forward? And you can put out. You have problems like with proprietary and stuff. Like I could see them like having cold feet because of that, because we all know how litigious GW likes to be.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Their fucking legal team likes to be, but at the same time, I do think that there is a market for that, and they could tap into that and just print literally print money.
No, I absolutely agree with you.
So I don't know.
And they could do it this way if they really want to do it. There's you can go to any 3D printer site you want to. Like, I'm on Cults right now.
Mm-hmm.
You could pay people that would die for like a contractor agreement to design different positions, or even make posable STLs of all these different. I mean, good God, you're talking any Space Marine, any guardsman, go through the species list of any model, and oh my God, like, people will pay. Like, I mean, make it reasonable, but people will pay.
Yeah, as I say, it all comes down to, I think, with that kind of stuff too, like contractors and stuff, is if they can have a good working relationship with contractors, then that not only gives you like an idea of the market available, but also then gives you goodwill amongst the community, which is more valuable than gold. It really is, because
absolutely.
If people view your company and view your stuff, which Games Workshop has struggled for a long time with. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're always roses. They do good things every now and then. They also do really stupid things every now and then.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's every company, but yeah. It's stupid the way they do certain things, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like that's in my opinion a big PR win and a big financial win for them. So I mean, all of these sorts of ideas, I really hope the best for the company, even though the company sometimes does dumb things. It's frustrating to be in that position. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I don't wish for the company to go under, but Jesus God, like, even I was like I was telling you, I'm working on like my salamanders, dude. Vulcan for $30K for the 30K Vulcan, he's $135, $145 just for the one sculpt. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that sculpt, the sculpt that I posted in the chat with you earlier today that you saw, it's a nice sculpt.
It is.
The base really isn't huge, but it's a nice sculpt.
Yeah.
Paid $15 for it.
Yeah, and $15 isn't the full cost, because then you have to worry about the resin. But the resin's
right,
pennies on the dollar, so who cares about that?
Right.
And compared to me, I mean, I was just at Adepticon this weekend. I bought Sanguinius, and I paid $152 for him. And
right.
That's a lot of money.
It is. Now, don't get me wrong. The sculpts are fucking amazing. But my point is, you don't have to like almost gouge the fuck, because if you think about it from the business standpoint, if you can do it for a better price, you're gonna sell more of them.
That's exactly.
So I don't understand the gouging. Like, I remember when a Rhino used to be $30 or cheaper. Jesus, like 5th edition, I could get a Rhino and probably a Lehman Russ and not a Baneblade, but I could get a Land Raider for $100.
Yeah, Land Raider, I think back in the day was, I'm trying to remember how much I paid for
50
mine.
tops.
I think 50 was how much I paid for my Land Raider. Yeah, but like all of my one Lehman Russ I bought from the before times. So it's the old sculpt. I think I paid like $30 for it.
Yeah, so I mean, if they could figure a way to not be such a dick with their prices, I think that would be best. But yeah,
same. Yeah,
dude, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna not buy stuff from them. Like, geez, but
yeah, there's
not gonna go ham.
Yeah, there's some people that are definitely, they exemplify the different ends of the spectrum. There's people who sit there and say, I'll support them no matter what they do, and and they'll just eat shit. And it's like, dude, come on, that's not realistic for most,
Oh, and
people,
then you got the other side that are like, fuck them, we're gonna.
Yeah.
People are buying like jewelry, 3D printer, 3D scanners, and trying to like high definition 3D scans of everything now, just so they can tear it apart and fucking do it themselves.
Yep. And it's like,
and these scanners are like $2,000.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's like you wanted to spend $2,000 on something else rather than fucking Warhammer. It's like,
well, you could have bought a whole fucking army for that. Like, what the fuck?
yeah, right. So it's like, I don't know, like, I think that there's a middle ground to be had, and I think a lot of people are just like, at least some of the people that like to be really vocal about this stuff, just really either don't get it or are being willfully blind to it. And it can get frustrating dealing with some of those people.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I'm from printing. I don't want to keep. I know you're wanting to talk about the First Legion and their Primarch awakening.
Well, I mean,
and we can talk about some NIDS too. But I mean,
that's just the news of the week, right? Because that's the big.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Thing, yeah. I say, and that new sculpt. Oh my god, it's so.
Oh
good.
yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. I want to say,
it's an exciting
did
time.
fucking I want to say, did Omegon get it? I saw it in Omegon's. Fucker, I think he did buy it. Either he did.
Lion thing?
Yeah, I want to say he either bought the lion or he bought. No, oh, fucker, he bought Ultramarines. What's his name? Gilliman. Yeah.
Yeah. Gilliman's not a bad sculpt. I don't like Gilliman as a character. I never really have.
He's just.
I've got my own problems with that. I've been pretty vocal about. He's okay. In terms of my least favorite Primarch, it's probably Rabute Gilliman. If I have to talk about my least favorite Legion or chapter, it's probably the Space Wolves.
What's wrong with the wolves? I'm curious.
Okay, it's not the aesthetic. It's not the whole Viking thing they have going on. It's their lore.
Yeah, they're kind of a gray.
They're like they love to be okay. If you know me, the biggest thing that you can do to get me to not be on your side or to immediately sour my opinion of you is to be a hypocrite. And the Space Wolves are nothing if not the embodiment of hypocrisy.
Yeah, but I also think you could say that of many of the Legion, like even the non-Legion, like my Grey Knights. If I think if Drago was to come back, he probably would kill all the Inquisitors himself.
I think it all comes down to perspective on that kind of thing. It's not necessarily that I think that he would kill Inquisitors. I think that he would just root out the radicals within, especially the Malleus. Like, because there's no really such thing as a radical Hereticus Inquisitor. It's just people that go too far.
Oh, sure. But what I'm saying is, like, and who was it? I can't remember the current Grandmasters. It's been so long since I've read the book. Oh shit, really?
I think Drago is considered to be still the sitting Grandmaster because he's not dead. He's just kind of trapped in a, riding the
he's there. I have a feeling the next couple books, because every time he gets kicked out of the warp, he stays longer and longer. Mm-hmm. So eventually he's going to come out and stay. But the point of it was when I think it was he or whoever the current Grandmaster is was saying, they don't want to be the hand of the Inquisition anymore. They want to go do what they're supposed to be doing, which is fighting demons and demon chaos space marines that are demons. I think the same thing could kind of be said. I mean, they kind of got fucked. They got used as a weapon against the Space Wolves. So I kind of understand some of the bullshit the Space Wolves think or maybe feel, I guess you could say. Because I mean, you had the Inquisition like, oh fuck you, we're gonna kill you, and we're gonna use the Grey Knights to help us out. Like, it's kind of garbage. But I mean, yeah, the way the whole
that whole
Space Wolf cool. I do agree.
That whole like saga there with the everything, it's kind of the Space Wolves' fault. number one, the Wolfen curse is has been a thing that has been like their thing that they've been trying to hide, like their dirty bed sheets they've been trying to hide. But the major thing for them is the fact that if you've read the books A Thousand Suns and Prospero Burns in particular, it highlights their hypocrisy to unbearable degrees.
See, I haven't read those yet, so I have to go back and check.
Yeah, you should. If you wanna get like really in on this discussion, the major things that they did is like it talks about the decision in Nicaea, okay, which was when the emperor decreed that the Librarius program was to be turned off, right? It was to be
oh yeah, the no more psychers.
No more psychers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing, right? The during the decision of Nicaea, like when they were doing the whole trial of Magnus the Red, Lehman Russ was there with Constantine Valdor, and he was saying things like, it doesn't matter if who's in that chamber, referring to Sanguinius, Fulgrim, Mortarion, Magnus, everyone, the Emperor, Malcador. So all of these people were present there. He says, if I see the slightest bit of sorcery, I'd kill every single person in that room.
Yeah,
and he's
garbage.
not considered a traitor? He said that in front of Constantine Valdor, the head of the Adeptus Custodes.
You gotta also look at, also, he's carrying a demon axe as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Really?
So, like, yeah, that was one, and then number two was them continuing on using rune priests after the decision of Nicaea,
Right.
because they don't get it. They don't get their power from the warp. They get it from the primal power of Fenris. Like, whatever you got to tell yourself there, buddy.
Yeah,
You're breaking
no,
the
I get
rules
it.
just as much as the Thousand Suns are.
Let's just be real. Because what's your take on the Emperor being an Eternal?
I think that there's probably some truth to it, but I think from a narrative standpoint, they just can't do that. Like, they can't go there. I actually had an interaction with Dan Abnett on Twitter because of this. Someone said something along the lines of, in a Twitter discussion about the advancement of the story of 40K. And they're like, do you think that the Emperor will ever wake up and blah, 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 blah? And I'm like, okay, as cool as that may sound, it's not going to happen, and I'm not sure you want it to happen. The reason why is because 40K, the narrative of 40K, rides on the idea that everything that the Imperium is stands on the precipice of destruction, but it is still fighting against it as hard as it possibly can, and it never takes that step forward or backward. It's the constant 1199 on the doomsday clock.
Right.
And if you put out the Emperor dying in any sort of way, if he's a perpetual and comes back, or if he dies completely, or if he's the Star Child and when his physical form dies, he becomes a literal god in the warp. Regardless, all of those outcomes, it is better for it to be a speculative argument than it is to remove all doubt and make it canon. Because at that
That's a fair point.
It's no longer, you're no longer on that precipice.
And that's a fair point. I could argue, I'm not saying I'm going to, I just say you could argue that if he is, I think he probably is leaning to the point that he is an Eternal, just because if Fulkin is and he's from his father, yeah, he's probably an Eternal.
Oh yeah.
But if he is an Eternal and dies, he's going to have to, I would think, with his power and the possible rumors that there are, he'd probably have to come out of the warp. Emerge out of the warp.
It's interesting because there's conflicting viewpoints for that. I mean, it's so crazy. Like, you're sitting there talking about this kind of stuff. I have, like, references that I can cite for all of this stuff. So it's like, okay, so at one point, you can claim that Saint Celestine is an Eternal, right? Is a perpetual, because she constantly comes back even after she dies. There's a book called, I think it's just Celestine, about that in particular, where it actually shows her journey after she dies, and she actually does, like, her spirit gets pulled into the warp. It's just that she has to claw her way out of it,
out.
every time.
Right. The book starts off as that she's waking up, not really understanding what's going on, and she's laying on these skulls of her dead body of her past.
Oh, and all of the bodies for all of the people that had died in the conflict. Like, one of my favorite ones is when she's climbing down from the mountain and has to worry about a ruined Valkyrie that's like precariously perched on this mountain of skulls and shit like that. It's like, it was such a good imagery for that kind of thing. So there is that. So you have that to cite for the fact that you have to like claw your way out of the warp every time you die as a perpetual.
Right.
And then you have other things where you can cite. I'm trying to remember which book it was now, because I'm slowly working my way through all of the Horus Heresy books as well, and
nice.
I'm up to 32. I just finished Pandarax. Okay, so there's a 40K book called Pandarax, which is a apocalypse story.
I'm actually listening to. Yeah, I'm actually in the process of listening to that one.
It's really good. I love that one.
It's great.
Yeah.
I'm actually listening to. Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
There's actually a way to draw that back to the Horus Heresy. There's a book called Damnation of Pythos, and it's set in 30K.
I've got that one in my wish list. Yeah.
Yeah, and it ties back to Pandarax. So.
Nice. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So look forward to that. But yeah. Anyway, I'm working through the Horus Heresy stuff, but there's one book in particular I remember listening to it, and it's rough to get through. The entire book. Oh, no, I remember it. It's Vulcan Lives. That's the name of the book. And the entirety of it is essentially it's post Drop Site Massacre, post Isfan 3, and the entirety of it is like. There's two stories, one of which is like the guerrilla war going on with the salamanders after they've been decimated from the Drop Site Massacre, and then the other one is Vulcan himself fighting against Conrad Kurz, who constantly is trying to torture and break him.
Oh yeah, he tries to kill him like so many times.
He doesn't try to; he does. He kills him. Like 60-something times.
And Vulcan goes fucking crazy.
Well, yeah,
because of it.
Yeah. Well, the major thing that makes him go crazy is the fact that all of the his first company were people that Conrad had trapped on board that ship as well, and he kept on killing them in front of Vulcan, and there was nothing that Vulcan could do to stop it. So just the constant death of his legion was
and then finally fucking Kurz gets his shit kicked in.
Oh yeah, he kicks the shit out of Kurz, and not only that, it like
almost kills him.
Well, it destroys his flagship, and then Kurz has to it was like right after everything the flagship is destroyed, Kurz gets onto the Lion's flagship. And that was when the whole Imperium Secundus thing happened, when the Lion and the Dark Angels make it to Macragge during the Ruin Storm, and that entire thing. It's Lion, Rabute, Conrad, and then later on Vulcan shows up. But Vulcan this is like post-torture Vulcan, so he's fucking crazy. But the entire time Vulcan is doing nothing but trying to find and kill Kurz. It's really good.
Go back and read that. Now I've got Old Earth, which I've listened to already, and it's about it's post escaping a Vulcan from Kurz, and he wakes up. I can't remember what planet he's on. I don't think he's on Vulcan. But or not Vulcan. He's not on
Nocturne.
No, he is. He's back on his home planet, and like 3 of his sons find him. It's like right before the heresy hits Earth. It hits Terra.
Okay.
It's an interesting read. It's an interesting book.
Okay. I have to. Well, it's probably on my on my list because, like I said, I'm working through all of them eventually.
And then I guess, have you done War of the Secrets?
No, not yet.
Since we're doing the theme for Lion and the first Legion.
Mm-hmm.
It's decent.
Okay.
Decent.
Marcin Johnson in chat says, who voices in the book? Or first of all, he said, what are you painting? I'm painting my roommate's Dark Angels librarian in honor of the Lions announcement for 40K. And then who voices in the book? Games Workshop have a
list
like
of people.
List of voice actors that that are like their go-to. And
like Pandarax was mentioned. If you want to talk Packer, it's like CJ or CZ Dunn.
Yeah, CZ Dunn is the author. Yeah. And
I'm trying to bring up the title really quick. It's my phone's being all fuckery on me.
I can't remember who does the narration, but I'll say this: whoever they get to do a lot of the narration for a lot of that kind of stuff, there's like
well done.
There's like a couple of people that they like are go-tos, and him in particular, I think the guy that does Pandarax in particular does a lot of the Horus Heresy stuff, like a lot.
Like that wasn't surprising at all.
Yeah.
These got a lot of the readers are like Ian Martin, Steve Lyons, James Swalwell. Those are just a few to name.
Yeah, and I say the ones if you want, if especially in particular if you want to get into 40K, like if you're kind of like on the margin, not like jump feet first into the lore and everything like that of the system and everything. If you want just like a toe dip in there and a guaranteed great performance from the actors that are in the book, anything that is from the Caiaphas Cain series. Stephen Perring and Penelope Rollins are the two main actors for that series. They are so good. They are like the best actors I've ever heard for an audiobook.
They're good too. I know you're. Yeah, speaking of, what paints do you use, Inquisitor?
I use mostly Citadel. I do have a couple of others that I do use. Like I've got some model color over here for effect paint. I've got a lot of these for like rust effects. And then this is the big one I've got right here. And it's funny, talking about Adepticon I was at, I actually went to... I was looking around for the booth in particular because like Adepticon they've got like all the different companies booths, so they have like representatives there, and I didn't realize I was actually talking to the rep at the time, but I have this one right here. It's sorry, upside down, Metal and Alchemy Black Metal from Scale 75.
Yeah, the black metal.
I love this paint.
Nice.
I love it so much. This is the
I don't have it yet. I wanted to order some.
This is the main paint I use for my Necrons.
Yep.
So and I've got my airbrush right over here, right? So what I do is I spray paint or spray brush the Metal and Alchemy on it, and you can see how much I have. I don't have that much left. This color in particular is always out of stock. And I was like, I was looking around for any place that was selling Scale 75 in particular for their paints, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I actually walked up to the Scale 75 paint booth, like their company was there, and so I look at the collections. I pick up the one that's the metal colors, right? And I turn it over and I find black metal, but it's in a pack with a whole bunch of other metal colors, and I'm like, but I don't need any of these. I want black metal. This is the one I need. And I sit there and I look up the guy and I go, hey man, what's the deal? And he's like, what? And I'm all like, I need this one in particular. I don't need any of these others. I just need black metal, man. Do you guys sell just black metal? And he goes like, well, you need to talk to our distributor. And that's when I sit there and I go, oh, I'm talking to the guy. And it's funny.
Oh yeah, there's several colors out there that are just so overly popular. Like they're
yeah.
There was a red. It wasn't like a blood red that I couldn't get for like 6 months, and then I switched over to like Vallejo and Army Painter, and I blend those two to get what I want nowadays.
Yeah, right. I say it's some of the times you have to do that sort of mixing and stuff to get what you need. I try to avoid it. I try to use just flat colors because there's no guarantee I can like either remember or guarantee that I have the same paint for a mixture. So for me, it all comes down to availability and price and consistency. And right now, the one that is most frustrating is the Metal and Alchemy. So hopefully I can get some metal and alchemy soon and get my black metal and get my Necrons finished. But yeah, that was the one. But yeah, I just thought it was a pretty funny anecdote. It's like, oh, I ended up talking to the guy, the sales rep for the region, and I didn't even know it.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah. So
yeah, like I'll
like some of the other colors I do use, like I've got right here. This is Vallejo model color. What's this one? Flat red. I use this one for the prime coating for all of my Samhain Eldar. And I think I think I'm going to use it for my Blood Angels too, because this is a really good flat tone. And then you can build on it from there. So it's something to consider. And then I also have what is this? Deep Sky Blue. I use this one for Thousand Suns, both my roommates and mine. So yeah, I don't use exclusively GW. I do have model color. I do have scale 75. I've got some of the... See, that's the thing, is like, one of the things I do have is I have this right here, Dark Aluminum from Vallejo. And if you look at the actual color, comparatively speaking, it's fairly close to black metal, but it's just not quite dark enough. And it has me sitting there going like, do I dare try using this as an alternative? Or do I wait and see if I can get it?
What you could do, and I know this is possible blasphemy depending on how strictly you are when it comes to buying. I've gotten into it recently. Go buy you some, let me see if I can get it.
Marson said, how much do I
Get you
charge?
some acrylic ink.
Oh, acrylic ink. I do have some.
And add a little bit of black. Add a little black to it.
I say I've got this
like
right here.
one drop at a time to the whole bottle.
I don't remember what brand this is. Oh, Dollar and Rowney.
I've got liquid. Oh, okay, yeah, I've got that one's good. I've got Liquidex too, so.
I use this one mainly for things that are like stark white, because I like the consistency of
Oh
this
way
way more than.
You just gotta shake that bastard up because it gets chunky as hell.
It gets chunky as
oh
fuck.
My god.
But it works really nicely, especially with the Stalinrise primer that I use. So
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like, I've learned to start adding a little bit of, like, I've got some metallic golds. I've got some gold metallics that I use, and if I want to change the hue just a bit, I'll add either like a yellow or a for silver, I'll add like a red ink or a blue ink to do power weapons with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've actually got one I can show off right here. I actually need to go back and fix him a little bit, but this is the captain I've got that I'm going to be painting Imperial Fists. Obviously, he's yellow. First of all, you can see right here, this is that white ink that I was using. It covers really nicely. It gives a little bit of texture, but I'm going to be painting in because I do all of my chapter and legion symbol stuff by hand. So I'm going to
you freehand?
Yeah. So I'm actually going to be freehanding the Imperial Fist symbol in there. So that's just still a work in progress. But you can see like there's like streaks of like orange in the yellow a little bit. What I did is I used base coat is Flash Gets Yellow. I painted all of the yellow bits Flash Gets Yellow, and then what I did is I used the contrast paint Iondine Yellow to get down into those recesses. Now, my problem is that it tints a lot of the stuff orange. So what I'm actually going through is I'm going through and using several layers to bring it back up in value for contrast Imperial Fists Yellow. So that way I can just kind of bring it back into a sane sort of level, but still get that orange that I really like in it. And one of the things that I did is like this is exactly the kind of effect what I want. You can see right down here in his shoe. I want this yellow right here on the top of his foot to be like that brighter yellow, but then when it gets up here into the fold of the armor, you can see that it like very slowly goes from yellow
transitions to shadow.
Yeah, so you can get that deep sort of shadow, but it's still in the same sort of like color tonal range as the yellow.
Right.
So, like that's how I'm gonna work through all of my Imperial Fists. Pray for me. At least I don't have that many to paint.
Funny.
But yeah. Marcin said, how much do I charge people for paints if I accept a job? It depends. Like, I'm not really a big commission painter. The main thing that I do, like I've said before, that I'm painting my roommate's stuff. What it is that, like, this is more just sort of a thing so that my roommate has an army to play with. Because he's jumped in the deep end ever since, like, he and I moved in together. Because he played, like, back in 2nd edition. But he was, like, kind of hesitant to get back into 40k. But when I started buying stuff for 40k, he was all like, okay, you know what, I'm going to do it too. And now he has, like, over 3,000 points of Thousand Suns, over 3,000 points of World Eaters, over 3,000 points of Black Legion.
Well, he went full heretic, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he's almost full heretic. The only Loyalist Legion he had, or the only Loyalist stuff that he has, is Dark Angels, and he's only started doing the Dark Angel stuff.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, no, it's like it's funny. It's he kind of really jumped in the deep end. But the major thing that he's done, he's doing with me, like the agreement we worked out, is that I'm painting his army, he buys my paint. That's it.
Fair trade, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, I've thought about maybe opening up commissions, but I don't have the time to.
Yeah, I was gonna say I work medical, so I barely have time to paint myself. So
tell
no.
me about it, man. I work industrial food. And
holy shit! Yeah,
I work 50 like 8-hour 5-day work weeks. It's
right.
Yeah, I feel like I live at my job.
I'm gonna say you work probably what 10 hours, 10 hours a day.
10.5 hour days. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got you by 2. But yeah, that sucks. That's not easy work either. That's a lot of moving.
Yeah, it's a lot of getting up,
I'm lucky that I get to do procedures and then go sit on a computer for the rest of the day. So yeah, that's oof.
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, say that's my whole thing, is like I'd like to get to a point where I could accept commissions, but right now it's just I don't have the time for it. I really wish I could, but I don't. Because it's funny, actually, there's some people in my... It's really funny. We've got a Discord for our local Warhammer store. Like, I don't know
nice.
why the guy decided to do it, but yeah, one of the players there just decided to open up a Discord and, like, invite only people that go to the store.
It's a good way to stay in contact with people.
And it's a good way to organize.
Most stores
and play
don't
games.
do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that more people, businesses-wise, don't do that locally.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Especially like ones that are trying to foster like a community, right? Because like 40K, it lives and dies by its community. So like it's interesting with that. But I actually had someone on that Discord ask if there's someone local that paints on commission, and I thought about putting my name out there, saying like, maybe we want to hire me, but I don't know what to charge. I don't know if like. The major thing is going to be like, is my painting style a good fit for what he wants? Because I'll be honest, I'm not like the kind of painter that does the typical Golden Demon level paint jobs or anything like that. I like to think that the way that I paint makes it look like an EC comic. That's what that's my perception of how I paint. It's like I really like high contrast. I like using darks to kind of like, instead of a lot of people using like highlights to highlight up, I like to contrast down. I like to start on a basis of painting things the way that I think they should be painted, and then making everything darker, just like basically turning off the light switch. That's what I like to do, and in my opinion it looks really, I like the way it looks, but it doesn't translate very well to someone painting on commission, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, like, that I do basically slap, I can't even speak right now, slap chop. That's all I do, and I don't really do a ton of highlights, so yeah. I get to where I want it to be playable, because I don't want to just show up with gray on the field. That's not cool.
It frustrates me because these last couple of weekends we've been playing boarding actions, and I've been having to use this guy, which is my war boss in Mega Armor, and it's like, I hate the fact that he's gray. I want to paint him, but it's like I have so much other things on my painting desk right now. I can't get to him.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like I said, it's just a process, and it'll just keep doing it until you're done with it. Merson asked, what's it like industrial food? It's weird because you have to worry about a lot of things, and then you also have to worry about actually doing your job. The major thing that you kind of have to think about is the fact that a lot of this stuff is regulated through the FDA, and if you mess up, if you mess up on your job, there's far-reaching ramifications. Things like you could have contamination, all sorts of stuff. So you have to really worry about all of that while you're doing your job as well. And it's cleaving to the process and making sure that everything that you're doing is clean and accurate. So it's
I take it when he says EMR, are you talking electronic medical record, or are we talking something else?
Maybe emergency response? Be EMT, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Emergency medical team.
Well, I mean, you could do EMRs for emergency response, but EMRs generally, from what I understand, from the side of medicine that I work, is electronic medical record. But they're not. I mean, the one that I work with is not frustrating. It's gone national. Basically, it's going to be the new standard.
Okay.
So it's not hard to work with. It's the frustrating thing in medicine still is always communication. So people or lack of. I'll put orders in, and then later on I'll have a nurse call me. What do you mean? I'm like, can you not read? Or I'll put an order in for a chest x-ray. You want that today? Yes. Go upstairs and take the picture, please. Thank you. Epic, yeah. That's what we use. I don't remember which flavor that I get to play with right now because there's so many out there, but yeah, that's what I use. What do you think of the new Terminators?
I mean, this may be a hot take, but I think that was an unnecessary resculpt. The Terminators were fine the way that they were, so long as they got away from the teddy bear pose from the 90s. I thought they were fine.
They just need to get a different pose. They oh, thank God, they need some better poses.
But I mean, do I think that the whole line needed to be revitalized? Not really.
Sure. I wish we would have more. I don't know. I really wish we could bring back the different ones, even though I know in the canon says that a lot of it's lost.
Oh, you mean like the cataphrons and stuff like that?
Yeah,
They're not cataphrons. Cataphracti.
Cataphracti. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Those were badass designs. I really like them, but.
Oh yeah. I just want to see more of that. To me, that is the kind of stuff that I would like to see more of. I'm sick of this whole single look, single pose. It's so aggravating.
I'm okay with the single pose and single look thing. It's just that it needs to be interesting, and I think that they've been doing fairly decent with that. Some is better than others. I do think that, in my opinion, the best example of them doing it right. Was the whole Phobos line, because all of those are mono pose and mono, loadout and stuff like that. But I really did like the design, and I thought that the mono pose part of it didn't really detract too much. Right.
I've not worked with Meditech, Marson. I'm sorry, so I wouldn't be able to. The last one I used was all scripts / Sunrise, and it was just shit. Epic is destroying everything in the medical field. It's going to be the standard, and it should be. It's phenomenal. So, and it allows hospitals to communicate with each other.
Well, that's important.
Very, because if you go to one hospital, I should be able to pull from another. Make it easy.
I would figure that would be the case, for medical records in particular. You need to be able to see that stuff for a patient.
It depends on the system. Unfortunately, not all systems want to use the same thing. So then it's like digitally sending the file over in a specific format so I can reformat it to put it on my computer. It's an aggravating, frustrating situation, but I mean, it's what it is. Like I said, Epic will soon be a standard, and then we won't. 4 minutes, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm kind of looking forward to the Lion's return. We'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, I would say I think that overall Games Workshop is doing a fairly, all things considered, stumbles and breaks. The GW had the whole controversy recently with the draconian language on their like license agreement for like fan art and stuff like that. So there was this huge hoopla about that, and it's all like. I can see some of the points, but at the same time, have they actually come after channels with cease and desists? No. Then why are you freaking out about it? So it's like...
Right. Well, and that's the whole thing about the new upcoming movie is...
yeah, true.
Wanting to keep, it's a good thing to protect the IP, but at the same time, you got to at least let people...
do their thing.
Play around a little bit. Like, Jesus... Yeah, keep to the canon, or what canon you have, and then go. Like, I don't think, from what I've seen of Witcher, that he is going to utterly decimate your fucking IP. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no. Henry Cavill's. It's funny actually. Like, there's a whole bunch of shit that's come out about Henry Cavill, like on the set of The Witcher. A lot of people are sitting there saying like, "Oh, he's such a nightmare to work with," and like one of the things they cite is the fact that he got all up in some actor's face because they weren't acting like the character from the novel.
Right.
Reading the novel. I'm all like, that's
he's
good
a fan.
thing.
Well, I mean, he played the video games. He read the books. Like, what else? What do you? The fuck?
Yeah. Like, how is
like,
that?
Don't get me wrong. I think
thing?
they did a great job, even though The Witcher was more European than it was everything else, and they got some of the characters a little off, which was fine, but overall they did a great job. So if he's going to bring that kind of attitude into making 40K, you can let it go. He's going to do fine. Like, Jesus Christ. He plays 3 different factions of Marines. I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, no,
like, God damn.
I think the people that like really like 40K, like, I'm not talking like the people that just like to complain, but the people that actually really like 40K are perfectly fine with Henry Cavill.
Off what's your face on freaking Twitter?
Oh, dude, I've tried to avoid Twitter now because of all of that shit. My God, it's frustrating watching.
Oh, they finally blocked me, and I've never even talked with them. So
I noticed that the other day, and I actually wanted to say something, but I'm all like, I'm not sure if Twitter's the right time to do it, but now that I have you here, I can sit here and talk to you about it. The person he's talking about in particular is a guy. His name that he goes by is Matt Austin on Twitter, and his handle is Bitshammer, and he's kind of become a meme because he's one of like these guys that is hardcore into saying that female Space Marines should be a thing. Like, that's his hill to die on. And the thing about it is, like, he's gotten into this thing now where he's pulling a page from 2016, right? People that disagree with him, he goes and blocks them, puts them behind the block bots, right? And there's all these block bots, which is funny because you and I have followed each other for a long time on Twitter, I believe, but he hasn't blocked me because he and I have actually had, before he started doing this meltdown, has had perfectly amicable interactions with each other. I've talked with this guy, and he's been incredibly sane and rational person. It's only when the female Space Marine shit started kicking off that he's just absolutely shat the bath. And it's all like, dude.
Yeah, like,
seriously,
I don't understand.
It used to be okay.
We have the canon. We have the canon. I mean, if you want, go down and it's feasible to do this. Work within the canon of it. Make some monster freaking sister.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Yep.
But saying that there's a Ultramarine that's a female when there's never in the history of the game been that. literally take a female and fucking put a gene seed in her and make her, and she has to be part of the freaking sisters. Like, that's what's going to happen if you want to do it.
And see, here's the thing, right? There's the claim that there's never been female Space Marines is wrong. Actually, it's actually wrong.
Oh, sure.
Because back when GW was like this little like hole in the wall closet company that had like 5 people, they actually had a.
You talking about like in the 70s, 80s? Is that what you're talking about? You're gonna go back that far?
In the early 80s, yeah. They had a female Space Marine miniature that they made.
Yep.
No one bought it. Not a single person fucking bought it. So they wrote in the story that it's a male-only thing because that's what sold. You want to blame someone for there not being female Space Marines? Blame the people that played the game back in the 80s.
But I mean, again, look at all of the different characters we have throughout, who are pretty damn badass. Look at Celestine.
Yeah.
Any of her flight guard. There's another. She's a sister superior, but she's fucking badass too. Like, Jesus Christ.
You talking about the comic Demonifuge? Ephraim Stern.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
You've got those kind of people. You could just. Well, and again, if you wanted to, if you have the Marines going through this new Primaris arc, you can do that with the sisters.
Sure. Yeah, like more gene therapy battle sisters, give them like +1 toughness or +1 strength, whatever.
Right.
It's really kind of narrow-minded to say that, because I'll tell you why, and why everyone is talking about Space Marines in particular and female Space Marines in particular is because it's the popular faction. It's the poster boys.
Oh yeah, no, sure, absolutely.
That's why they want it. They don't
but
want
again,
it because of canon.
The sisters got a whole brand new reshot. I mean, the sisters got a whole new. Oh, they are. They're beautiful. Oh my god.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
But like.
This is coming from a guy that has the old Pewter's Battle Sisters and a whole now Plastic Sisters. So, like, I've got both.
But, like, I mean, I wouldn't say canon is what sells. No, you got to have... Canon has to be a certain thing. You don't want to go back and have to always constantly retcon. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But there's ways to move forward in today's time to make this happen.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do that. They want to go back and they want to adjust history.
Yeah. It's a revisionism.
And that's the problem.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
It is. You and I 100% agree on that. And that's the thing, like, that sort of idea is completely antithetical to their argument of them wanting to have female representation. I'm like, dude, if the fact that Battle Sisters in particular, which were incredibly niche back in earlier editions, they didn't have a model revamp until 8th edition. If you want to talk about that, the fact that they were front and fucking center of 9th edition's cinematic, then that's just being willfully ignorant, my guy. That is being willfully ignorant.
Well, and they have an entire expansion on the video game just for them. Like, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
If you're talking about wanting to have female, I mean, if you're into the representation thing, but even back then, the sisters weren't a bad army in 5th.
Yeah. No, they like
when they got written out, right before they got written out, and then redone.
I've been playing the Battle Sisters since 3rd edition. I collected them back when it was in the big black book, where they had all of the units in the rule book. So I played them then, and then I played them when they released the Witch Hunters Codex. There was a time when my friends and I, we got really into World of Warcraft, where I just completely stopped playing World of Warcraft, or playing Warhammer, and that was from 6th edition to 7th edition. It was 6 and 7 was when I stopped, and then I came back in 8th, and so it was amazing to see the Battle Sisters get this big spotlight shown on them, because the Sisters of Battle for a while were my main army. Like, I had a lot of armies back in the day. I had Battle Sisters, Blood Angels were my first army. And then, like, Imperial Guard, I had Thousand Sons, I had Eldar, all sorts of stuff. So when I came back and I saw the Battle Sisters getting a huge spotlight, I got excited. And that was, I think, one of the catalysts that made me, go back there. And I think it's also really telling when someone is clamoring about Space Marine shit, because Space Marines, like it or not, like them or not, I'm gonna come out and say this is a hot take for some people maybe, but it's Yeah, I'm speaking my truth, people. I'm speaking my truth. Space Marines are the least interesting thing in 40K. They really are.
They're bland. Like,
Yeah.
they really are.
If you want,
I mean, you get some
interesting
factions that
stories.
are really cool, but
Yeah.
it's cookie cutter.
It is. It's very cookie cutter, and like a lot of the stories do boil down to the same sort of tropes and ideas about them being, we're a warrior culture and we need to, do anything to beat the enemy and hold the tide against the forces against the Imperium, right? But it's much more interesting because you see the human aspect and even the inhuman aspect when you get into things other than Space Marines, because these are people. These aren't like child soldiers that are born, bred, and indoctrinated into knowing only war. Like, these are people with aspirations and people who want to live. It's like, I want to live. That is infinitely more interesting than the hyper indoctrinated Space Marine is. So when people say we need female Space Marines, are female guardsmen not good enough? I can point to 3 fucking books that are amazing that have a female character as the main character. The whole Cadia Stands series. Minka Lesk, she's getting a mini here soon for the Black Library celebration. And it looks cool.
We can go to the different Xenos as well. You've got how many different characters in the new Eldar, Dark Eldar, even Tau have female characters like.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I say Shadow Sun for the Tau.
Yep.
You have Lelith Hesperex for the Imperial or for the Dark Eldar. You have so many. And here we go. Marcin Johansson here said, "What makes the sisters badass? How are they different from typical Space Marine?" Okay, number one,
they have a tank that shoots missiles out of like a
pipe organ.
Yeah,
I love the Exorcist. It's an awesome model.
I mean, if you want to go, but if you want to go to the lore, I mean, when they go into battle, they drop freaking. They're like church drop pods.
Oh yeah.
Wade into their shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I would even go so far as just the interpersonal aspect. Number one, they're entirely human. They're entirely human. No genetic enhancements. Nothing. They wear power armor.
That's what I'm saying. They could, if you want to make a female Marine type, have a Primaris type arc for them as a human going to like a Space Marine.
Yeah.
That way you have like
They've already established that there are like enhancements that you can get for a human that puts you on par with the Space Marine. You just don't have the gene seed. And is the gene seed like getting down into the minutia of it?
If you're looking at that, look at the Custodes. They don't technically have a gene seed in them.
Nope.
Technically.
Well, I think they do, but it's like not the typical progenoid.
It's not the same.
It's something different. But the Battle Sisters are entirely human. They're fighting. It's like, okay, you want a good comparison of what makes Battle Sisters badass compared to Space Marines? What makes Batman more badass than Superman?
True. It's a good analogy, actually. Really good analogy.
So, I mean, there you go. There's my explanation.
I mean, and they have all the different types of weaponry too. I mean, you've got flamers, you've got meltas, you've got not chain guns. They're like a lighter version of the bolt guns. Like, I mean, it's a freaking. It's a badass.
You talking about the auto guns that they give the novitiates?
Yeah. I mean, and again, go look up the Executioner. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's the Exorcist.
Just lays waste. Oh yeah, excuse me, the Exorcist. I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, I've got my Space Marines online. But yeah, the Exorcist is insane.
Yep.
So I mean, then you get into some of the weird mech that they have. It's a whole.
Oh, the Paragon warsuits, yeah.
And that and the Penitent engine and shit. Like, come on.
I'd say the other thing that I like to point out for the Battle Sisters is that they literally perform miracles on the battlefield. Through their sheer faith alone, they carry the day. in a literal and real, tangible way.
It's pretty badass.
So, I mean, that's why Battle Sisters are awesome. They're like paladins in 40k, whereas Space Marines could technically be considered paladins as well. I mean, Grey Knights have a unit called the Paladins, but
yeah,
they like the Battle Sisters are literally wielding the divine as a weapon.
Right. It's everything in the Emperor. Yeah.
So, like, you could sit there and say, like, the Rangers for the Eldar are, like, examples of, like, Rangers from D&D and that sort of idea in Warhammer. Well, Battle Sisters are Paladins. There you go.
Right. All right.
So.
Wizarder?
Yes?
I'm probably going to have to get out because I got to go to bed and be up in 4 hours.
Oh, that's perfectly fine, man. In fact, actually, it's been an hour, so I think it's about time we close up shop anyway. Thank you for coming on, man. It was great talking to you.
Yeah. If you want, we can do this again next week.
Yeah, you are welcome anytime, my man. Just let me know.
I appreciate it.
And yeah, we can pull you in here and talk on Sundays. So I hope you've all had a good time watching a little bit of paint dry. I know I got a little sidetracked and getting all talking. I didn't do very much painting, but that's okay. Hope you had a good time watching some paint dry. Be sure to watch tomorrow where Adam is the host and he's going to be playing some radiogrames and talking that with Terry. And yeah, other than that,
give Terry a hard time for me.
Oh yeah. Well, Terry loves to be humble, but he is really good at fighting games, like ridiculously good.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a hard fight for Adam. I wish I was there to give Terry some run for his money. It was funny. There was one time Adam came over to my place and we were playing Soul Calibur with Terry, and I was just kicking the shit out of him. So Terry got his comeuppance. All right, guys, he's not always gonna win. But anyway. We've been your Mini Zoo. Thank you for coming out and watching some paint dry. Be sure to watch tomorrow. And yeah, that's about it. Zoo's closed. Take care, everyone.